Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Oh na 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 na. Big it up. Oh na 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 na. Big it up. Oh na 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 na. Bam bam. Bir bam bam bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam. Bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam bir bam bam bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam. Bir bam bir bam 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 bam. Bir bam bir de. Bir bam bam bam.
Hello everyone, welcome again to Home and Away Jamaica, where we connect Jamaica with the diaspora. Today we have with us Mr. Carlton Hunter. Carlton is a construction engineer, and we will be asking him to give us some guidance on some of the issues that many persons face when they are applying for permits for new construction, and some of the issues that commonly arise when persons seek to put additions to an existing unit, issues that in many instances may create breaches and create issues when the property is being resold. So we want to welcome Carlton. Carlton, thanks for being with us today and sharing with our listeners.
Okay, hi. Thanks very much, Mr. Taylor, and to your listeners. Hi again. It's a privilege to be here with you guys today to pretty much give a synopsis of what will take place as the questions that you previously spoken. Now, you mentioned two broad areas. One about the last one I mentioned, which was addition, and then you have what we call a greenfield, which is pretty much building from scratch and the building process. Now, let me start with the easy one, the easy question, which is the addition. Now, the parish council, whenever you're doing an addition, under the Town and Country Planning Act, the parish council have all authority to approve the building. Now, if you build without approval, which sometimes the people in the industry, if you're not sensible enough or not knowledgeable enough to go ahead and tell you that, oh, you don't need a building approval, right? And this is a common thing that I see. People is passing around misinformation. You need the parish council, if you're doing addition, you need the parish council approval. It helps you. And I always tell people, construction is the largest investment that you want to make in your lifetime. So it's important that you utilize the tools that the countries have. And the parish council is one of the tools that you can use to properly guide you to the construction. Now, when you're doing the addition, the parish council requires that you do show what is existing. What is this important? Because they are going to give you approval based off your title. Now, your title stipulates a lot of stuff. So whenever you're going to do addition, it is important that you know what is on your title. It's important that you read your title and know what's on your title. Because what is on your title don't only stipulate the house alone, but other things that are associated with the house. For example, your water runoff, your sewage, the setbacks from your building to your boundary, from the center line of the roadway to the boundary, or it could be from the sea, from the gully, from whatever drainage runoff, from utility companies, JPS, Flow, or Digicel. It gives you and specified things that is used to govern the addition. Similarly goes for the greenfield, which is the one that you would not build on a fresh piece of land. Right? The stipulation is the same thing. The title is what is used to guide the architect or the draftsman is specifically what's supposed to be placed underground itself. So it gives you information similar to the addition, it gives you similar information about the greenfield.
So, Carlton, for somebody who, if we go quickly back to the addition, so what I see and what we see in our practice is that persons may either, one, get parish council approval, but they don't take the further step of getting the approval endorsed on title. Or persons may not get an approval at all. So they'll add a structure and it interferes with the boundary covenant.
True.
And what happens is they put the property on the market to sell. The purchaser, through their attorney, gets a surveyor's identification report, and then we uncover this breach. And so all the things that should have been done before, prior to, you know, putting up this addition, we now have to take the time to do the drawings, the approvals. We have to take all of these retroactive steps. And what it does is delay in some instances and create additional costs, because the longer you take to do this, over time costs mount. So can you just quickly tell us what the steps are for making that application?
Okay, all right, sure. Now, whenever you have that issue where you have built and without the approval, or maybe you built with the approval but you still breach the building, we call that retroactive drawing. Now, it entails, depends on the parish council that you're dealing with. The process might be different, but what is consistent is the documentation or the application that the lawyer have to make in the court, right? So the lawyer have to make an application to the court. And when the lawyer made the application to the court, the judge is going to tell the lawyer that they cannot, well, when the law, let me just backtrack a little. When the lawyer makes the application to the court, the application is to amend whatever is on your title or the breach that is shown on your title based upon the surveyor's report that is done when you're selling the property. Now, the judge will not grant you that approval. They will want you to go back to the parish council, because by law, the parish council is the only authority that can that have willing to govern over the building process or the building application, that can really give that consent. So the lawyer sees the sense of the parish council to ask them if they have an issue with whatever the lawyer is making on their which is a breach. No, the parish council is going to ask you, to do what we call a retroactive drawing. Is, well, pretty much 14 or so parish councils, and they are not consistent, which is unfortunate in terms of what they required. For example, at KSAC, if you're going to do the retroactive drawing, they don't want a comprehensive drawing. What they want is pretty much like floor plan sections, elevation, and an engineer's report. Now, other parish councils, so maybe as St. Catherine, and you have Portmore, the application is different. There's a contrast in what they want. For example, St. Catherine requires now, unlike KSAC, they want you to do a comprehensive retroactive drawing as if it was made fresh. So it's more detailed and it takes a lot more work, along with an engineer's report. While in St. Catherine, which is Port Municipal Council, they require you to do a comprehensive drawing, but they don't require for you to do an engineer's report. But if you want to, if some clients want to do addition while they're making an amendment, and for once you're doing the addition, pretty much going on top of your structure for Portmore, they are not going to require you to do an engineer's report. So for example, say you made the application for the amendment, don't require an engineer's report, and they grant you it. Now you get back your title, now in the future, the near future, the distant future, you decide, I want to go on top, and you go back to them again, because you have done the retroactive drawing, which is a detailed drawing. When you go back to the Port Municipal Council, they're going to ask you about now for the same engineer's report, because they said that they didn't assess the structure from an engineering point of view, because truth and fact, they don't know what was done prior. They only ask you that you do a retroactive comprehensive drawing detailing all of those stuff.
Okay.
So in closing, so when the parish council give you about that approved drawing, it goes back to the lawyer carry back to the court, the judge see it, and the judge will grant you the approval. But one thing that I need to mention, and you mentioned it earlier, I need to expound a little on it, is that I don't want your viewers to have the belief that whenever there is a buyer purchase, it has a breach, you can make the application to the court, and the court will grant you the approval to make the amendment for your title. There are instances where the parish council will review your application, and based on the level of breach and the encroachment that you'll be having on your property, they will ask you to do some level of demolition. So I always tell people that whenever you buy a house that has breach, there's two options. Either you're going to, or maybe a combination, a hybrid of both.
Right.
So you might just get the straight modification, you might have to do a demolition, or you do a combination of both. Some level of demolition, and you get the the other section of it.
Good point, because it's not in all cases that a breach will be approved. A breach may have, a significant enough burden on the neighbor or some other third party who the breach.
Or drainage system, the government drainage system. It could be close to the sea, it could be close to the power line, GPS power lines. It could be a various of stuff.
So the advice then would be for someone buying a property and a breach we determine there's a breach, that the proper checks be first done with the parish council and the relevant professionals to make sure that this breach, the likely way of managing the breach, either maybe curing it by demolition or making an assessment as to whether the application would be approved.
Mm-hmm. Because a skilled lawyer, based on my experience, because I've worked with lawyers on these cases, because I do drawings for clients, right? And a skilled lawyer, whenever the surveyor's report comes back in, because that's part of the whole purchasing of the property, when that comes back in and they see a breach, the mortgage company would normally set aside some money and ask it to the lawyers or lawyer to handle the situation. But a skilled lawyer, when they get the survey's report and it shows that there are breaches on the property, what they would normally do, which would do, is send a letter to the parish councils, pay a fee, a small fee, ask them to review the application or review the building at the level of breaches on the building and give back their feedback. Because again, as we mentioned previously, we can have demolition, or we can just get the straight granting, or we don't have to do a little bit of both, right? And from there, the lawyers can maneuver and negotiate properly on behalf of their clients.
Okay, great. So I think you've fairly comprehensively addressed the issues that can arise and how they need to be managed in respect of addition. Yes. Let's go now to that person who has land. Yes. As you mentioned, you use the term greenfield. What are the steps that would need to be taken for someone wanting to put a building up?
All right. Well, let us start at a point. Let us start at the point that the person have the intent to do the construction. Well, if the person, and this is what I want your viewers to know, I just want to backtrack a little just to give them a synopsis. Remember, Jamaica, as you know, we are very mountainous. We're mountain run from west to east, and it's predominantly in the northern section. So you'll find the southern section is predominantly plain, so it's flat land. And the reason why I mention this is because based on my experience, people just go ahead and buy houses, and sometimes they get the land, they don't really understand the intricacy that goes into designing a house from a greenfield. And let me be more specific. If you want a humble little 3-bedroom house, that's what you plan to retire, and your grandkids pretty much is after college and all of those stuff, right? And you want to retire. You want a little 3-bedroom house, a car porch, living, dining, and kitchen, a humble setting for yourself. If you buy something in the northern section or the mountain section, you will have a lot of steep, a lot of slope. It's kind of difficult and challenging for an architect or a draftsman to design just a simple little 3-bedroom because of the terrain of the land, right? It entails even more money because if the land is flat, you just can't get a simple surveyor, the draftsman can get a simple ID and generate back your site, and you can start develop your design from that. But if it is slow, or greatly slow, the survey no need to come into play, and that be an additional cost to you because the survey not to come and do what we call topo or capture more features of the property. Worse if it is in a more rural setting where it's bushed, the survey is going to tell you the place that to clean. So you have a 1/4 acre, which is pretty much the minimum standard in rural area for a house land. Upward, starting from 1/4 acre upward, it has to be bushed, not to come in and do what we call a topo survey. Reason being is that it helps with all designing and from the architect or the draftsman point of view, and it also helps from the parish council technical officers to really assess the plan properly to see what we are proposing is tangible on the property itself, right? Now the application process is now, whenever you decide that you identify the land and you decide that this is a land that you're comfortable with, this is where you want to put your dream house, or this is where you want to do some form of development. The process is you will have one, getting the draftsman or the architect, you would have these reconnaissance work, you would have got the title, you would have got either a survey's report, or I would have got what we call a DP, which pretty much gives us the bearings and the length of your property. And from that, we can now develop the site plan. And from that, we can start to, based upon the title, know are the parameters, meaning the setbacks from your boundaries. And then from there, you can start to develop your drawing. Now, when the drawing is finished, and you're comfortable that you do what we call a comprehensive design plan that entails a whole lot of stuff. Sometimes it's so technical because that's what I call technical drawing. You don't really, it's kind of difficult to read. But when that is finished, the next step is to submit it to the parish council or the municipalities. Depends on where you are. Now, there are certain documents that's attached to the plan. Normally require a minimum of 4 plans. It depends on where you're going. KSSE require 3 and you submit 1 by email. Most parish councils require 4 sets of plan. Depends on the level of the land or the size of the land or the nature of the development of the building, you have to maybe get an engineer or an architect stamp. So if the building is over a certain square footage, I think it's maybe 4,000 square footage, I stand to be corrected, the architect or the engineer need to stamp that plan. Is required by them. Now, when all of those documents, the drawing is ready, there are certain documents that have attached to it to go by the parish council. You need your approved title. So easy to get the original copy of the title. They need to see everything original. So you're going to need an approved title. So for me, what I do, I go by the title's office downtown and I pay for a certified copy. That to be suffice. Because I normally don't encourage people to walk around with a title. You don't want it to get damaged or lost, anything. So your fee is about 1,000, 1,500. And all you need is a volume and folder number, if you can find it. And you can find it online, ELAN, that you can go to and find those things. Or it's simply a property tax. There's a valuation number on your property tax. You can go down to the title's office and you can do it. You can also do it from the comfort of your home, right? And ask for the proof. And you can go down by, when it is approved, you can go by the office. You can downtown and you can collect the approved title. The other documents that you would need is your property tax. No, it's not just your property tax receipt. You need a property tax certificate. There's a difference. The receipt just say you pay your property tax. The certificate shows that you have paid all your property tax, and it must be stamped by an authority, person of authority at the title's office and signed. Okay. The other thing that you need is now a surveyor's report. The surveyor's report have to be at least 1 year old. If it's 1 day over the 1 year old, it's no good. Right? The other thing that you need, though, is, as I said before, is a 4 sets of plan. And lastly, your money. Your parish councils, each parish council's fee different. So, for example, St. Catherine, they have a fee that they work it out. Now, what they have tried to do now is pretty much standardize how the fees are done. Pretty much all of them are the same. This is about roughly about $200 per meter square, plus some other administrative costs. And that also is different based upon parish by parish. The most expensive parish council of all of them is the Poma Municipal Council. That is much smaller, and how it was developed, it was based upon your property tax, building plans, and other little mediums in the parish council which they can generate to pay a staff that is not on the central government payroll. So their fees normally a little bit higher. So otherwise, most parish council, the fees are pretty much the same, which as I said before is about $200 per meter square, plus some other administrative costs, and that will vary based upon parish and parish.
Well,
so in closing, yes. When all of those documents is ready, your property tax, your title, your plan, your surveyor's report, and your money, you submit that to the officer. Now the officer at the parish council, I said they have standardized their process now. They will review the plan. If there's issue with the plan, they will not accept the plan unless everything is to their satisfaction. And my recommendation is that whenever you're submitting your plan, maybe just consult with your draftsman or your architect and ask them to submit it for you. Because it's very challenging. And you submit a plan, it has issues. And there's a lot of technical issues on the plan that they might be telling you that you don't understand, and the process becomes flustered and frustrated. And based upon my experience, I would recommend to anybody that if you're going to submit your plan, either you submit it with your draftsman or architect, or you ask them and pay them a fee or negotiate whatever you want for them to submit it for you to use the process. When the plan is finished and the parish council technical people are satisfied, they will now take 6 to 8 weeks. That's what they say. 6 to 8 weeks for the application process. Some parish council have 1 day in the month that they will have a meeting, we call a planning meeting, that they review the application and approve your plan. When it approve, it doesn't mean that you'll be getting it same time. It's a process. And you have to sign each drawing. Because you submitted 4 plans, you have to sign back. Sign each drawing. These are the technical officers. It'll be the billing officer and the billing and superintendent officer. Right? Then they will give you a package. In the package, there's a list of stuff that is in the package. Most, so they will give you a thing called condition of approval that people need to read. It gives you a very detailed of the do's and don't when you get approval. The approval lasts for 6 months. Sorry, you'll get a permit for 6 months, but your approval right across Jamaica is for 2 years. And that's a misunderstanding a lot of people have. They get a permit in their package says 6 months, and they believe that they believe that the plan approved is just for 6 months. No, it's for 2 years. Your permit is for 6 months. And if you start construction within that 6 months, excavate, pour concrete, it is understood that you have actually started construction. If you take a year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, not a problem. But if you do not start in the level of construction, which is digging the foundation, putting a steel, pouring a concrete, if that have not started, if you have digged the foundation, place a steel, but have not cast any concrete, it is understood that the construction have not started. The construction is understood when it started, when the concrete is poured. If that is not done, say for example, you have digged the foundation, you have laid your steel, not pour concrete, and 2 years have lapsed, that plan is no longer good. You have to resubmit that plan and start the process all over again with the parish council.
Well, Mr. Hunter, I want to thank you. We've run out of time. So quickly, but you know, the level of detail you've provided is something that, you know, I think we really need. We need to arm our listeners with, and our viewers with, the information in an area that is very troublesome. In my practice, I see the issues, a lot of which you've described. And in fact, I think the takeaway is that you should always engage professionals. You know, trying to submit these applications on your own will invariably lead to them being bounced. And, you know, many people complain about the turnaround time at the agencies. But the agencies will tell you that if the applications come complete, many times they will be in a position to fulfill the approvals within the guidelines that they specify. So we want to thank you. I think you're clearly a key resource for anyone who is embarking on this process, whether it's an addition or whether it's putting up a greenfield building, and we'll certainly have your information available for viewers and anyone who may wish to engage your services. So I want to thank you again. It's an area that we've always wanted to get a deep dive into. So thank you very much, and we wish you a good rest of your day from all of us at Home and Away Jamaica. Thanks, Carlton Hunter.
No problem, and thanks for your time, and I hope that the information that I've shared with your viewers is well received, and I wish them all the luck. You know?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Until next time, goodbye.
TV, bam bam, on the street, bam bam, in the class, bam bam, then a preacher, bam bam.